Love, lift, life. We touch into your mind, body, and soul.
In the beginning, there was only ocean. Until the mother island emerged, Tefiti. Her heart held the greatest power ever known. It could create life itself. And Tefiti shared it with the world. But in time, some began to seek Tefiti's heart. They believed if they could possess it, the great power of creation would be theirs. And one day, the most daring of them all voyaged across the vast ocean to take it. He was a demigod of the wind and sea. He was a warrior, a trickster, a shapeshifter who could change form with the power of his magical fishhook. And his name was Maui. But without her heart, Tefiti began to crumble, giving birth to a terrible darkness. Maui tried to escape, but was confronted by another who sought the heart. Heka, a demon of earth and fire. Maui was struck from the sky, never to be seen again. And his magical fishhook and the heart of Tefiti were lost to the sea, where even now, 1,000 years later, Teka and the demons of the deep still hunt for the heart, hiding in a darkness that will continue to spread, chasing away our fish, draining the life from island after island, until every one of us is devoured by the bloodthirsty jaws of inescapable death!
The pineal gland is actually powered by your thoughts. The problem is our thoughts are so human in nature. So where the Demiurge comes in, the Demiurge's goal is to keep you the absolute human, because the absolute human thought is a food source for the Demiurge. In the mythology, they talk about a false creator god. His name is Yaldabaoth, which later became Yahweh, Vahi, from the Jewish thing. And they talk about his debauchery, his mistake, his ignorance, his wickedness, cruelty, and his sheer stupidity of creating what you call Earth. And these beings on planet Earth, these animals, to worship him. How do they worship him? They worship him through what you just call regular nature. When you see a lion chasing a zebra, and that zebra got that fear in his eyes as he's running for his life, just this natural thing that you come to accept as that's nature and that's where we are and how it is. It's an act of evil by the Gnostic standard. They say your very existence brings death just because you have to eat. You have to kill just to survive. that in its very essence, they tell you, is evil. And this creator God that's got you down here doing this has to be evil in nature. They tell you just cause evil exists on this planet, just cause the evil exists, that's either a cruel motherfucker that made this place or an incompetent motherfucker that made this place. Take your pick. So they go very hard in the detail on what they call this false creator God, and it is known as the Demiurge. He is the Demiurge, or the Demiurge energy. The Demiurge is, in the Greek, Zeus and his posse. Zeus just, when you hear how they're giving hell to the humans all the time, lightning bolts, raping bitches, having fathering these demigods and just bouncing on their ass. It's over and over again. So they're trying to tell you, you are actually older than the gods. The gods are actually the birth of the ego that you have now. And say it again. The gods are actually the birth of the ego. The gods rule planet Earth because the gods are creators. And the creation is the act of the ego. So if I didn't have an ego and they say, who are you? That's where you get this. I am that I am. If I have an ego and you say, who are you? You say, well, this is me expressing myself as a rose, as a kitten, as a hat, as a cat, as a pencil, as lead, as gold, as a flower. As all this shit down here is an expression of God, as we like to say, it's actually an expression of the ego. It's you proving God. You don't have to prove God. If you don't have to prove God, who are you? I am that I am, my nigga. The movie Clash of the Titans, the two new ones, they'll tell you straight out, these gods were getting weak because no one was praying to them. That was what the whole movie was about. Don't start praying to these niggas. You pray them, you're gonna start giving them power. So don't pray to them. Now this concept is real because that Demiurge Gnostic God that we were talking about, when he created man, from Gnostic mythology, they say man was just a worm crawling around like anybody else, and based upon fear, being hunted, the law of the jungle or whatever, or the law of the wherever the fuck these niggas was. That anxiety of just living in this turbulent world was how this Demiurge energy fed. Now, as a side note, they also said he couldn't do it alone. When they seen the attempt, there were 12 angels called the 12 evil Archons that came down and helped him set this place up. Now, of course, that's the Zodiac. So all you niggas sitting around, oh, you're a Taurus and you doing that, and that's why with a Gemini energy, look, read Gnosticism and you'll end that bullshit fucking system that you holding on to. Is any of this Zodiac true? Absolutely yes. But if you understand the occult science of it, that runs your humanity. So it's true if you're participating in human thought, then a Leo shouldn't be with a Taurus, and a Gemini is going to be this, and a Taurus is going to be stubborn, because your humanity will dictate that. The concept has always been for you to rise above these animal zoo types to the higher aspect. The Zodiac has two concepts, a lower and a higher aspect. You're supposed to be rising in each lifetime to the higher aspect. I'm a Taurus. I'm supposed to be rising to the higher aspect of Taurus instead of saying fuck it and being stubborn at everything and not listening to any motherfucking body. And this puts you in a number frequency out of that 12 evil Archons, or that 12 frequency, into the 13 frequency. The 13 frequency is the Christ frequency. So he is his 12 disciples, which the root word means to discipline. He has disciplined that energy and become the middle point. That's why the sun hieroglyph is a circle with a dot in the middle. You're supposed to be that middle point, and it also represents the pineal as a Christ thinking. Supernatural, not regular. And that's what I told you in the beginning. Human thought doesn't get you there. Human thought gets you to go around that fucking 12 all day. Leo, Gemini, Cancer. It gets you going around all day. That's your 12 human thought frequency. Your 13 Christ thought is a supernatural advanced thought. And that's where the conscious person is supposed to be on. The concept in even the name Jesus Christ is in Gnosticism. But in Gnosticism, what they tell you is every man must become the Christ. There's no one man, no one Savior coming to say, which is fucking obvious. They just took Jesus Christ concept and put some of the mythology to it. And then, of course, Constantine took the mythology and the Jesus Christ concept and made it a human being in a history book when it was never that, and got niggas fucked up ever since. The Christ energy is what you're supposed to become, the 13, and that changes your thinking. So these 12 evil Archons helped him build this reality. And this is all an act of the ego. Your very ego is the Demiurge. Period.
They explain who Zeus is, and it simply says that Zeus is the Demiurge. Now, if anybody heard me teach over the last course of the last 2-3 years, I've been talking about the Demiurge, which is subordinate deities, which is simply called a Yaldabaoth, which is this lower deity. You getting this? Yeah. Now, if Zeus is the Demiurge and is a Yaldabaoth, then Jesus, which is the name, when you call on his name, you calling on the very person who put us down this motherfucker entrapment.
The oldest stories ever told are written in the stars. Stories of time before man and gods, when Titans ruled the earth. The Titans were powerful, but their reign was ended by their own sons, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. Zeus convinced his brother Hades to create a beast so strong it could defeat their parents. And from his own flesh, Hades gave birth to an unspeakable horror, the Kraken. Zeus became king of the heavens, Poseidon, king of the seas, and Hades, tricked by Zeus, was left to rule the underworld in darkness and in misery. It was Zeus who created man, and man's prayers fed the gods' immortality. But in time, mankind grew restless. They began to question the gods, and finally rise up against them.
To Mount Sinai to get the 10 Commandments. Mount Sinai, spelled S-I-N-A-I. The first 3 letters, sin, S-I-N, sin. Mount Sinai was taken from the lunar god, the lunar Mesopotamian god, Sin, which is the moon, during the Babylonian exile in 6th century BCE. So they also call Mount Sinai Mount Horeb. Mount Horeb in Arabic means hot or heat. So all that's telling you is that Moses went up on a mountain to get energy from the sun during the zenith, which is 12 o'clock during its highest point in the sky. The Bible is based off astrology. How else do I crush you down? Okay. Right. Or Yeshua. Y'all believe Yeshua was born of a virgin birth. Now let me crank on you real fast. When we dealing with Yeshua being born of a virgin birth, we understand that virgin is what? Virgin is Latin from the word Virgo. The word Virgo comes from the Greek word parthenos. Now why is this important? Because Yeshua was born by who? Or Jesus was born by who? Mary, the Virgin Mary. Actually, Jesus is the sun. We understand that Jesus is who? Once again, the sun. The sun does what? It travels through the 12 zodiac signs, and it takes 25,920 years for it to complete, for it to make a complete revolution. So, when we're dealing with Jesus being born of a virgin birth, we understand that what? Jesus was born in Bethlehem. Now, hold on to the science. Jesus was born of a virgin birth in Bethlehem. Now, why is this important? Because when the Caucasians came to Egypt and stole the knowledge from Kemet, in the funerary rites of Kemet, they have one depiction on the temple walls where you have 12 judges, 12, hence the number 12, and you have the deceased, 13. Also, you got the 13 zodiac signs. You got the 12 constellations, and the sun is the 13th zodiac sign. Now, keep following me, Lex Vortex. Yeshua or Jesus was born of a virgin birth. We understand that the Virgo constellation is also called the house of bread. Now, why do they say that Jesus, why is Jesus born of a virgin birth? Because the Virgo constellation is considered the house of bread. This is why it's depicted with a woman holding a handful of bread, or they call it a sheaf full of wheat. Now, Bethlehem in Hebrew actually means house of wheat. Beth in Hebrew means house. Lehem means wheat. So we understand that Jesus was born in a house of bread. They call the Virgo constellation the house of bread. Also, when you look at the glyph for Virgo, it's an M. So when you go back in history and you look at every alleged Messiah that was born of a virgin birth, their mother always, the name of the virgin mother always starts with the M. Because why? The Virgo constellation glyph is an M. So when you look at Buddha, Buddha was born by Maya. When you look at Jesus or Yeshua was born by Mary. When you look at Horu and Aset, the Egyptian name for Aset is Mashe. So you understand that all of these immaculate conceptions were just personified stories based upon astrology when the sun would travel through the Virgo constellation. And this story was stolen. The Virgin constellation, this specific constellation was chosen for this story because from August to September is when the Egyptians would harvest their crops. So they used this story to let you know that this was a plentiful time to harvest the crops during this time. And this story was actually configured by the Council of Nicaea and Judaism into actual sequence birth that you now believe in. So now you want to say that young Pharaoh, you're pseudo. Your entire belief system is predicated upon an imaginary situation that never happened and is actually the zodiac sign and the constellation.
They explain who Zeus is, and it simply says that Zeus is the Demiurge. Now, if anybody heard me teach over the last course of the last 2-3 years, I've been talking about the Demiurge, which is subordinate deities, which is simply called a Yaldabaoth, which is this lower deity. Getting this? Now, if Zeus is the Demiurge and is the Yaldabaoth, then Jesus, which is the name, when you call on his name, you calling on the very present